Okay, for this next part, all we're going to do is go out to the connected desktop drive and we're going to open up the Word docs that we dragged over. You can right click and open. You could also stop, open up Word and go and make some modifications. But what's key here is to make some type of a change. So I'm just going to drop in a line here saying that it's changed, this is a version, check out what happens inside of Fusion Lifecycle. And once you do this, go over and simply close. You could save and close if you want, but close and save is the same thing. And at this point, we're making another version. And I want you to repeat this for the other two Word docs in here. Keep in mind, this same thing works whether it's a PDF, a PowerPoint, a DWG file, any file. We're making versions here. And you'll notice as you go and open and save and close, a dialog box is going to appear, and that's actually what is creating the version it's watching. So if you watch it right here, there it is. So it's actually letting connected desktop know that a change has occurred. So now let's go take a look back in Fusion. So now back inside of Fusion Team, or the Data tab, here we have our three Word docs, and you'll see over here that these were updated just recently. We can go and take a look at the versions, but what's more interesting is to go back to that item that we had. So here at Revision A, remember that's locked in at Revision A. If I were to go down here and look at the 2 version example here, it's locked to version 1, but it already knows that there is a later version. The onlock example is almost the same at this point as the 2 version example, and then down here is the float example. Remember, this one is going to consume the latest no matter what. It's not going to lock or bind to any particular version. In fact, if we take a look at that, it's going to open up that Word doc, render it out for us, and here's the edit that we made. So it already knows it's actually consuming the latest and greatest version. So where does this come into play with revisioning? I'm going to take a look at that next. For this next part, watch carefully. We're going to take this revision A and we're going to move this whole item back to a working revision. And as I do that, watch what happens down here with the different revision pinning policies. When I move it back to working, working is like saying, all right, I want to start working on the next revision, the next great thing. I want to keep making changes to it. We have A, but I want to go and do some more work to it. So if you have the permissions and the rights to do so, you can do this on a revision controlled workspace. As soon as I moved it back, notice that the pinning policy, this first one, 2 version, says, I'm gonna stick with 1. The onlock says, oh, we're unlocked. Well, then what do you have out there? It's going to go to 2, and then float will always take whatever is the latest and greatest. So to see this all the way through, what I want you to do is come over here. We're going to do a quick create ECO. And this is something we did earlier when we took at revisions on CAD files. So follow along, create a quick ECO, and we'll get this through to revision B. And upon entering a title, click on Save and Manage. Do a production revision, we'll move from A to B. Save and View will take us directly right over to the change order. And here we go. Change order, it'll be going from A to B. All right, so let's push it through. So from the Actions menu, push it through, so Submit to Work. Move it to Review. And finally, we'll approve and close. So now let's go back to the item, which is now at Revision B. We've got a couple of revisions that we've moved through, but in this case, I want to take a look at the attachment. So now at Revision B, see that this first example that we had, we pinned it to version 1, and that's all it's going to consume from here on forward. It's going to be 2 version 1, which means if I take a look at that right now, because it is bound to version 1, it will be the Word doc as I drag and drop and it was uploaded. So this is the one without the second line. Pretty easy. The onlock example, as you would expect, will be the Word doc with the second line that I added and close, and that created version 2. And likewise, the float example will be the same. So here's version 2 of the float example. So one more thing, I'll leave you with this. We have the different versions and we have 3 different pinning policies. What I want you to leave you with is, if we come up here, you can see, of course, we can go right to the next working version and start working on production revision C and D and so on. But we have history here. We have history, we have production A. So if I roll back to that, I can see the way things were with the attachments at revision superseded A. So you can always go back in time. Now remember, float example, even if you went back to superseded A, it's going to take the latest version that's out there. But the on lock, so this is why it's the default. You can see what was the version that was approved through the change order and all of the approvals at the time of locked, and that's what it is going to pin to. And likewise, to version allows you to choose from the multitude of versions out there which one you want to bind it to.